Hello, my friends. It is Saturday, the 16th, and I've just finished the Great Grow Along. This was such a fun event. I was able to stay on for a little while. I watched Sky and Ryan and just all sorts of really, really fun people. Oh, Cindy Funes, who I battled in Container Wars. I am like her number one fangirl. And of course, like Paula and Barb with Crescent. And anyways, it was so fun. So anyways, I am actually off. I have a couple of errands that I need to get done today, and I thought it would be fun to take you along. And so my first errand is actually over to my aunt's house. A lot of you were asking what I do with plants that are still viable that I pull out of these containers. And generally speaking, I like to give them all homes. So maybe I will send something home with like one of my assistants, or maybe I'll put something on Buy Nothing. And in this case, or I will have like a garden that I know the homeowner and I'm like, oh, this would be so perfect for them. They already have a bunch of it. In this case, I am actually bringing a bunch of those goodies over to my aunt's house because she has a few little pockets in her garden that need some help. So I'm going to go ahead and load up the truck, and you're going to see me take those over to her. Welcome to my crazy truck. I have just finished a week of installations and have done just a ton of amazing containers. But what I'm left in here is with, I don't even think that was proper English. What I'm left with in here is a bunch of new product mixed in with a bunch of old things that I have rescued from containers and all of that. So I'm going to go through what I have here. I'm going to put some things away. I'm going to get myself set up for the week, but also load in all of the plants that are going to my aunt's house. Good morning, my friends. It is the next day. I thought I would be home a little bit earlier yesterday, but I ended up staying at my aunt's house and pruning her hydrangea and taking out some azaleas that just are gross and old and woody. And anyways, it was really, really wonderful. We got a ton accomplished, and I feel so good that we found homes for all of those plants on her property. And here's the scoop. I only give plants to people that I know are a match for that plant. Does that make sense? So I'm not just going to dump a bunch of plants that are a hodgepodge. When I go deliver plants to someone, to like a friend or one of my aunts, I want to make sure that they're set up for success and I'm not just creating more chaos in their garden. So we got a couple of pots established. We have a new little hellebore section that's going to get going and really gorgeous. And I even had some azaleas that I ended up putting in my truck to replace the ones that we took out because they were gorgeous there and we love the evergreen structure, but they were just in terrible form. So in any event, it is the next day and I am in my own garden trying to tackle some cleanup. I've got a myriad of things to do. We're going to do the front border and then I'm going to move on to stripping out the containers on the dining patio. And these ones I'm actually going to reconstruct later this week. But I was noticing some things were pushing up and coming back in there. I noticed some, I'll take you around, but I noticed some little things starting to come back in all of this warmth that we're having. So I'm going to just set you up and get to work. Here we have a Pennisetum called Little Bunny. And this one, I'm actually going to just show you really quick how I prune this back. It's super duper simple. I prefer to leave my grasses and my foliage up for a little extra winter interest, and I will only prune them back at this time. And you can kind of tell, do you see how these little babies are just starting to emerge? I want to make sure I get this dead growth off before it gets too far underway, because if you do it too late, you run the risk of cutting into that new growth. So I'm just gonna give it a little haircut. And we're off to our next. Okay, also look how cute. This is my first replete daffodil emerging. I am so thrilled. Okay, so before I go any further, I want to show you this weed. This is shotweed. It's the common name. And what ends up happening is, do you see these little tiny hair-like seed pods that are developing? If you let this go to seed, what'll happen is the second you touch these, they just shoot off seeds, and it's like bursting babies out of like a cannon or something. They just go everywhere. This is another example right here. These ones are a little bit more mature. And if this was a fully mature shotweed, I would touch these and they would just burst open, okay? So now if you have let your garden go a little bit too long, what I will sometimes do is I will do this like, see if I can show you. I'll do this little like sweeping motion and gather the foliage of the shotweed in my hand and pull from there. And what this kind of does, and this is this is a category of what I would call lazy weed. But essentially what you're doing by putting all this in your hand is you're trying to squeeze as many of those seed pods together as humanly possible so that they don't just scatter to every far reaches of your garden. Okay, and I will tell you, this is not a proud moment, but I have one dead, one super marginal, and then another almost dead boxwood. I do not know what frickin' happened to these things. All of them on the other side are fine, but these three are just toast. I planted them all the same. I fertilized all of them. They're all on drip. And these three, for whatever reason, they just did not make it through the winter. Whew, okay, marathon cleaning. I'm gonna spin you around and show you what we got done. Alrighty, daffs, tulips, all cleaned up, ready to emerge, get their bloom on. That sedum finally deadheaded. And then of course over here, got that little bunny cleaned up, and so she's ready to go too. So front border, huge improvement. Next, I swung down by the dining patio to get these guys. This is Salvia caradona, one of my favorite salvias of all time. Stunning blue, deep stem, super sexy variety. Love it, love it, love it. That's all cleaned up. I have more sedum. God, you guys, my garden is super sedum heavy right now. And so I may move some of these. I don't know, to be determined. This little guy over here, I don't know if you can see this. This is actually a Digiplexus. The name of it is, I believe, Illumination Flame. And at first I thought, gosh, this is gonna look gorgeous in the garden. And then the colors, they just weren't doing it for me. So that may go on to a new home. And then of course, more beautiful ladies mantle. This is just one of my favorite perennials. It's such a workhorse for me in the garden. I love how dew collects in its leaves. I honestly don't think I will ever have a garden without this plant. It is just a favorite, favorite, favorite. Next, we have 2 trios of containers at the dining patio. This one has a beautiful 5-star jasmine that I'm gonna be training up the pergola. I was able to pull out most all of the plants, and I do have this sweet little drapey sedum. I believe this one is called Coca-Cola or something like that. I love it for the edge of a pot. When it emerges, actually is a super deep, kind of purpley toned sedum, really beautiful draping over the edge of a container. Over here, pulled out everything except for this little box honeysuckle, this lemon lime. I'm gonna clean that one up and leave it there. And then down here, I discovered that this is my aster that is coming back so beautifully. So I think this container I may just leave as is, just sedum and aster. All right, second little sweet trio here. I did a little matchy moment. Again, we have 5-star jasmine that's gonna train up here. That same little sedum. And this is what happens sometimes when I have leftovers from containers, I just throw them in there. Here's more of that sedum, and I think this is a dianthus. I can't quite remember what I put in here, but it's coming back, so I figure, why not? And then this one, I got so excited because I forgot to put this in here. This is a sweet little clematis that has a dark blue bell-shaped flower. Let me see if I can get in here. Okay, it is absolutely sensational. I will see if I can pop a picture of this onto the screen. It is one of my favorites. This is the type that has those sweet little downward. It almost looks like, I don't know, like a little tiny skirt or something. Just one of my favorites. So this was such a fun discovery that it is already off to the races. And then I also want to give you a rose update. Look at all of this new beautiful growth. It has just absolutely started to flourish. So next on the list, I think I need to go around and tackle all of my fertilizing. So getting my roses, getting my hydrangeas, just getting everything that is off to the races covered. All right, my friends, heck of a Sunday. I got so much accomplished. It's looking a lot tidier out here. I'm getting all that dead foliage gone. It's just starting to look fresh and things are prepped for the growing season ahead. So I hope you've had a wonderful day as I have. I'm gonna get changed and kick back into some good family time. And I'm gonna see you in the next one. Say hello to your garden for me. Bye.